Is it okay to dump girlfriend because she's not cool with my dog living inside my house? This dog is my total bro. He deserves to be inside the house as much as anybody. Need your advice here. Reddit comments. This dog is my total bro. Dude, that dog is gonna have your back no matter what. Your house, your rules. If she can't understand why you'd want your companion to keep you company in your zone, then it sounds like you and her just aren't on the same page. It's fine to break up with her if that's a deal breaker for you. My dog that I just had to put down, I had her for 15 years. I'm 39 years old and not been in a relationship that lasted 15 years yet. I used to tell people she was my soulmate, and that's before I realized reading this that she's the longest relationship I had. Dude, you're totally in the right. That dog would die for you. If you died, he'd sit next to your body and mourn himself to death. They're the most loyal and pure creatures on the planet. By contrast, girls simply be trifling mayo. For real though. Talk to her if you haven't already about how much your dog means to you and how it's just as much his home as it is yours. If she's not living with you, remind her that she is the visitor in you and your dog's home. Thing is, if you're thinking a lifetime commitment to this or any woman, it's not just about this dog. You're going to have dogs most of your life. This is who you are. There's lots of women who would share your love of dogs, and don't be surprised if your furry BFF ends up cuddling with her instead of you, and this will make you love them both even more. In my view, if she doesn't love your dog, she doesn't really love you. It honestly sounds like you've made up your mind, and ultimatums are never a good thing to encounter in a relationship. But if you decide to work things out, maybe setting some inside house boundaries for the dog could be a fair compromise. For instance, no more sitting on the bed or the couch, etc. Or does she just not like dogs? Has he been a bit of an overbearing presence for her or not? Depending on the dog's age, your solution isn't fair to the pup. If the dog is older and has been allowed to do those things all his life, then suddenly being denied is going to confuse him, hurt his feelings, and may damage his bond with Opus. Dog was there first. The woman either respects the dog and opts home, or she goes. Simple as that. Try to understand where she is coming from too. The dog might be misbehaving in some way. This sucks to admit, but it's important to recognize our companions can sometimes be brats just like bratty kids, and they might need more discipline or training in some area. If she doesn't have a valid reason, that's a warning flag in my opinion. And you, my friend, need to get off the Reddit train of all or nothing. I never said that this isn't a red flag at all, but that op should communicate with her and try to find out what's really going on before making one-sided assumptions. Asking for the dog to just live outside is terrible in my opinion, but these posts are hardly ever the black and white problems they seem to be, yet they all get the same response on Reddit 99% of the time, and that's that op's partner is always a horrible person that needs to be dropped like a hot potato. If they're having this problem now, I'm assuming they've probably only been together for maybe a year at most. Maybe the girlfriend is recognizing problems with the dog in some area. There's nothing dismissive about admitting that could be true. Maybe the dog is different when Op isn't home with his girlfriend. Maybe Op isn't the easiest person to talk to in real life, and the GF doesn't feel like she can talk to him because people get way too defensive of their pets to a fault. Maybe Op is great to talk to, and the GF is just really dropping the ball on communicating. Who really knows? To suggest that my saying Op needs to communicate in his relationship is also somehow implying not paying attention to red flags is a huge, erroneous leap in logic. Dog was there first. She knew what she was getting into. She should have asked herself if it was something she can live with instead of thinking she could change it. Right. I get so mad when people bring their pets to the shelter because they're so, or the person they've just started dating doesn't like the pet. We did end up being able to talk one guy out of it. I've taken in several animals that people have tossed away for their boyfriend or girlfriend. The last two I took in are the sweetest, most loving cats that were tossed aside for some boyfriend. Taking in pets is agreeing to care for them until they die. How someone can ditch a pet that relies on them for everything is cruel. To me it's like dropping your kids off at the CPS office because your so doesn't want them around. Animals are just as much of a package deal as kids, and if your so can't handle that then they need to go. I'm mixed in this. I had a cat who bit my 1-year-old son in the face. Husband said get rid of him or I will. Kitty cat now lives with my sister in a loving home. I miss him, but how can I just let an animal remain who is a threat to my son? How can I possibly imagine at 20 something how having a cat would affect my life in 10 years? And my son loved the kitty. It's not like he was purposefully mean. He just wasn't gentle enough. It's completely understandable. If a pet is a threat to a child, that's a good reason to rehome. I've had a couple of dogs in the past that were rehomed with me because they were not good with kids. I currently have a cat that was going to be put down because she bites, but because I don't have kids I took her in. If an animal is dangerous that's a valid reason to not keep them. But it's totally different than abandoning an animal just because your partner doesn't want or like them. Every guy I ever dated knew before he even dated me that my pets and I were a package deal. Luckily my husband loves animals too. Maybe you should ask your dog if he's okay with your girlfriend living inside the house. He's probably not even okay with this, and no one's bothered to ask him yet. You can let her know about your conversation with your dog and see how she feels about it. Maybe the only way you three can all live together is if she lives outside in the yard. She can come in for meals, shower and a shag. This would be so awesome. I'm breaking up with you. Why? Barney doesn't like you. This would be a funny conversation to see. Sitting down your GF and just saying, so me and my dog have had the talk and we have decided that we are not okay with you being inside the house, so get out. Dash. Putting aside the fact that that's unbelievably rude and petty of her, do you really want to be dating someone who doesn't love and respect dogs? I don't think there is anything wrong with not loving dogs. I don't care for any animals really, but I would never do what Ops girl is doing. Fair point, but the key word I used was respect. She clearly doesn't respect his dog, or his love for his dog for that matter. She came into his house that he owns and is trying to force him into making it sleep outside. If she's not paying bills she doesn't get to make that choice. Dogs living inside the house is completely normal. What's not normal is having the dog sit at the table with us during Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner like my parents do, but that's on the other end of that spectrum. Dump your GF. Tell her she's an outside girlfriend now. I'm not a big fan of dogs, too much fur everywhere, too many awful smells, to me, too jumpy plus allergies. That being said, I would never go to someone's place and tell them that their dog needs to be outside. Their house equals their rules. She needs to understand that not only is it your house and your rules, but that it's your dog's home as well. And if she can't understand and respect that, then she is the one who needs to leave, not your dog. Anyone who thinks animals belong outside are evil. I can't vibe with people who act like animals don't have feelings or deserve respect. Everyone in here is like dump that girl, and here's an adult response. Try communicating with her and figure out where this comes from. Is she afraid of the dog? Did she have bad experiences with dogs when she was younger? Dog attack or something traumatic? Is she allergic? Does the dog negatively impact her in some way? Does she view the dog as messy and you don't clean the house properly, but this is her answer for that? Does your house smell bad because you might not clean enough? If you value her as a person, try seeing it from her side. Odds are you can come to understand why. Then, work through that issue. Figure out a plan. Set small goals to achieve the end goal. You don't have to dump her. Work with her. That's what a relationship is. I'm not a big... It's okay to also give her the ultimatum first, maybe when faced with the option of either breaking up or simply getting used to the dog in your house. She will suck it up and stay with you. Some people are just used to getting their way from complaining. If in the end she still can't live with the dog, then send her packing. It's okay to dump someone for any reason if you don't feel like you'd be happy being with them. I'm not going to judge whether she's a good or bad person or whatever. I have my personal opinions, but it's your life and plenty of others have offered this already. But she clearly has some values that compete with yours. So it's up to you. Is this a deal breaker? Could she be convinced otherwise? Could you? If the conflict can't be resolved one way or the other, it may be time to let the relationship go. There's lots of good people out there, none of them will be perfect, but you have to ask yourself if this is a priority to you or not. Comment and subscribe.